If your offer is proven, if you've signed 20 plus students and your students are getting results, but your revenue is still unpredictable, then it's not a demand problem. It's a structural ceiling problem. And if you don't fix it, you will stumble around 20 to 30K every single month. And that's exactly what was going on with this coach right before we installed the infrastructures, which allowed him to get a 20x return on investment while working with us. And here are all the 7 systems that we implemented for him to go from a 2.5K investment with us all the way to 51.75K cash collected over the time span of his offer. Okay. And the first system that we actually had to use was market research. Now, we did market research in 2 different ways. The first way was internal research and the second way was external validation. Okay, now even the internal research, there were 2 different ways we did it, 3 different ways. Okay, the first way was gathering data directly from the coach as they know their service and their ICP the best. So we used that. We hopped on an onboarding call with him, with the coach. We asked him about 70 to 80 questions which are on this onboarding document, and then we collected the sales calls transcript from that call itself, and then we fed it to AI basically. And then all the conversations of specifically the previous clients who have gotten really good results, and all the sales calls transcripts of the previous sales of students who have also gotten really good results. So now what we are completely optimizing for is our ideal buyer type. Okay, and once we kind of got this data and an idea of who we need to target, we then had to externally validate the offer. And to externally validate the offer, the first thing we did was story polls. Instead of guessing the ICPs, we validate them by running polls and observing which profiles would respond in the way our ideal buyer would, which then allowed us to also spark up conversations with these people and further along also convert them. So the first, the goal of the first system was to literally just demand clarity around your ICP and an in-depth understanding of the people who always get results with this program. Okay. Now, once we were able to identify who the exact ICP was, we needed to optimize the offer. And before doing any sort of market research, what we understood was previously this coach was targeting anyone who was providing content creation as a service, whether that was content agency owners, photographers, freelance videographers, content creators, influencers, video editors, and beginners and everything. Okay. But after market research and validation, we understood that the core offer should just be helping videographers become 10K per month content agency owners within 60 to 90 days. And this was extremely possible as there were multiple case studies. And one of the case studies off the top of my head was Jerry from this offer itself, who had collected a 6.5K retainer every single month within 3 weeks of getting onboarded on this program. Okay. So we knew that this offer worked and we just wanted to structure it in a way which was more scalable. And in order for us to do that, we also had to overload the value of the offer and make it much more clear. And when I say overload, I don't mean adding a lot of strings. Okay, what I mean by overload is basically identifying the problem that the ICP is facing, generating solutions to those problems, and then converting those solutions into delivery vehicles which these people can implement and see results within weeks. Okay, so now we understood that, okay, a value overload offer is basically a clear offer which targets your exact ICP, which also, guarantees that if they execute on this, they're also going to see results. Okay, so that's what makes a really good offer. And then obviously we segregated the offer, and then we bundled the offer into 4 different parts. Okay, number 1 was finding clients, number 2 was charging high prices, number 3 was what type of content to post to get more social media presence, and then number 4 was basically building and managing a team. Okay, and this offer alone and this document alone helped us to create all our offer copy. Okay, all our offer copy, landing page copy, email copy, everything, because we knew that this offer is coming from a data perspective. It's not coming from intuition. It's coming from real data real words, real emotions that people have, explained on these sales calls over here, that people have explained in the conversations, and that our coach has explained on the onboarding call as well. Okay. Once we had this offer, it was the only reason we needed this offer to be in a document is to just like amplify the value of the offer. That is it. And the best way to amplify the value of the offer is if the puzzle fits. Okay. If the problems and solutions fit and they've generated results, that's what a good offer is. Okay. It's not by adding more things. You can have 10 different deliverables and you can still charge like 3K, 2K, and you're still not going to see results. So having less deliverables, making sure that these deliverables do get results, will allow you to work less and make a lot more money, because you can then charge higher since you're a specialist in one problem and one problem only. Okay. Then we created a client profile document to get clarity around the offer for the sales team members and for anyone else who wants to get onboarded onto the team. And this offer client profile document, the client profile document, the whole goal is basically to have all the necessary information, all the FAQ that the setter or the salesperson or the closer might face on the calls. Okay. For example, who the ICP is, the top pain points of the ICP, the language and the brand tone of the coach itself, the delivery and coaching format of the offer, the price and the packages, which is basically right now it's like 6.5K on a one-on-one mentorship, why the coach stands out, the experience and credibility. Obviously there's way more credibility and experience over here, we just haven't updated this yet. Backstory and origin, all the backstory and origin about the coach itself, the lifestyle snapshot about the coach as well, which allows the sales team members to be much more in touch with the story of the coach and much more in touch with the ICP, with their pain points and desires and everything else. And honestly, this one document has saved us a lot of back and forth between the coach and the sales team. Okay. Now, once that was done, we also created a Discord server for streamlined team communication and automated notifications. So we have the backend Discord something. Hold on. I'll pull it up until it loads. But yeah, hold on. Before I do that, I'm just going to fucking finish it. Okay. Forget it. Now, the whole goal for this system, offer optimization system, was to get as much as clarity and value down to the T within the offer. So we just wanted everyone to be clear on the offer. We wanted a lot of value in the offer to be ready over there as well. And that's why it was very important for us to install this offer optimization system. Okay. And once we had the offer optimized, then we needed basically traffic to get these people to go through on the offer. And the way we did that was with this content system template. Okay. So we got this content system template from one of our really good friends, Joshua. So shout out to Joshua if you're watching this. But basically the editing SOP for the editors, the client brand sheets, which is basically majority of the questions from these client brand sheets are already on the onboarding document. The music, all the non-copyrighted music you can use on IG and YouTube. The footage links, all the footage links of the raw videos, and the custom GPT, which is basically used to generate a long form and a short form content strategy for our coaches. Okay. And once we have the long form and short form content strategy ready, we also have the content accountability forms, which I'm going to get into. But before that, I want to explain this system. So let's say the coach wakes up in the morning, he adds an idea over here. Once he adds the idea over here, all the coach has to do is fill out an accountability form where he basically is, how do I say this? Publicly, the coach has to make a promise for the whole team that, hey, I'm going to fill out this form, and that form is basically like a promise that the coach is going to record this video today, and the editor has to get this video edited, and it can also be possibly posted today. And we also, the amount of videos he had to record in a week, short form or long form, everything was included in the whole strategy itself that we had created for the coach. Okay, so the coach basically had to use these forms, and we had to keep the coach accountable on the forms itself. We didn't have to like go behind him on recording everything. We just had to like tell him that, hey, you filled out this form today, you haven't kept up to your word, let's move, right? And that's how we got the coach to consistently post content as well. Now, once we had the accountability system in place, we also at paid traffic. But before I get into paid traffic, I want to quickly just explain this as well. Now, the content system, the way it works is basically you add an idea, and if you're filming it, you move it to the filming stage, the raw video stage. Once it's uploaded, in progress for the editor to move it, revisions for us to check out or for the coach to check out, and ready is basically if it's ready to be posted, and posted it's basically if it's posted. And once it's posted, you can also add these tags which kind of show you what type of content it is, and it also helps us understand which type of content performs really well on the whole profile for the coach itself, right? So there are the top three over here: authority, growth, and authentic is basically for IG. And then YouTube is basically TOF, MOF, and BOF, which is top of funnel, middle of funnel, and bottom of funnel. So those are the different types of content tags that we mainly look out for, and just for us to identify like what type of content gets us the most, cost per result. Not even cost per result, but like energy per result, if that makes sense, right? Perfect. And paid traffic. Now for paid traffic, the only thing that we did was like we created two different ad copies. It was a real ad copy, and out of those two different ad copies, we found ad 2 worked out the best. So the way the ad copy looks like is pretty simple. We are calling them out in the first line itself, and then we are giving them some sort of pain points that they can relate to. After giving the pain points, we also, keep them curious enough to stay until the first CTA. Once they get the first CTA, then we go through all the credibility that we've, done or the coach has done in his whole experience. Once he goes through all the credibility, then there is a little push to get them to, the next part of the video, which is basically the last CTA. And once they get to the last CTA, they just, comment the keyword, which is content, and we get them into a conversation, and then we convert them into a qualified call, and then close them, right? Now, this ad alone has generated like a 5x ROAS, and it wasn't even really that great. Like, if I'm being very honest, we only had like 2 ad creatives. We really hit the luck over here, and obviously the finalized ad was also really well edited. So I can't take all the credit for this, but yeah, this ad copy really worked out well for us. So yeah, that's about it. And you can always like create more creatives, static or video, but that's another video. I'm gonna create another video on it anyways. So once we had all the traffic systems in place, the only goal for the traffic systems was to get predictable flow of input, right? Once we had predictable flow of input, we also wanted to convert this flow into tangible outcomes, right? Tangible calls. So the way we did that was with appointment setting systems. And I'm sure you're seeing this weird ass purple arrow over here, but it's going to make a lot more sense, trust me. Now, the first thing we had to do was source a killer DM setter from our strategic partners. Basically, our partners such as Jackson Barsley, and there are a lot more people who help us, with trained setters and closers. And we also give them external training for the specific offer as well. Now, once we find like a bunch of good setters, what we do is we give them a lot of modules to go through. We give them like 4 different modules to go through. And once they've gone through the modules, we basically explain the concept of how they're supposed to do the setting without giving them a script. We actually teach them a proper framework that they're supposed to be aware of. And that's much more easier because every lead is different in the DMs, and old methods of DM setting is just dead, right? You can have AI bots as well. There are a lot of AI apps that allow you to, convert people automatically, but I would not prefer doing that right now myself. I feel like setters just, if you find a really good setter who's hungry, they would definitely outperform some bot. But right now there are really good bots as well. There are really good AI apps as well that help you with appointment setting. So I can't blame it. Like, I cannot call anyone out on that, right? Now, once we find really good setters, once we train them through all the 4 modules that we have, about like 4 hours long, then we run 3 mock tests with each of the setters. And the only reason to do that is because we want to find a really good cultural fit for the offer as well. We don't want someone who is just in it for making money, but we want someone who actually believes in the offer as well, because that is how you're supposed to build a team, right? That is how you build a long-term team. And that is how it's much more easier for someone to be more motivated if you are also supporting them in their own personal goals, right? So we ran like 3 different mock test conversations, and then we ran another call as well. And if they are a good fit for the offer, we instantly place them on the offer and they start converting inbound ad leads or warm outbound organic leads into qualified warmed up calls using the Setter Resource Hub. Now the Setter Resource Hub looks something like this, okay? In this Setter Resource Hub, I have the link over here. By the way, if you guys want these links, just reach out to me on IG and I'll send it over to you, all the templates and everything. Obviously, I'm not going to go through every single bit of information on this video. It's going to take way too long. So just hit me up on IG, okay? Now, after creating the Setter Resource Hub, these are the things that we actually included in it, right? Client profile, the one that I showed you earlier, the DM framework, which was specially created for this offer. Pre-recorded evergreen voice notes recorded by the coach for any sort of objection handling or just converting people on the spot itself, okay? Pre-call form, a form for the setter to fill out after every call that he books so that there's a lot of context for the closer to look forward to, and it's much more easier for the closer to close these people once he has a lot more context about who he's going to hop on a call with, okay? The tracking sheet just to understand what the ABR is, appointment booking rate, and I think we had an appointment booking rate of 14% on this offer, which is not bad considering we were not even like going absolutely hard on the launch, okay? One more thing about this offer is that I think within a week of launching all these systems, we collected like 2 times of the investment. So this coach itself, he invested like 2.5K with us and he collected 6K within 1 week. And then after that, he just collected like 51.75K, which is like 20 times the ROI, 21 times almost, okay? The tracking sheet, anyways, the tracking sheet to find out the appointment booking rate and also the bottlenecks and improve on those bottlenecks as well. The detailed end of day form. Now, the end of day form that we had over here was absolutely insane. So we realized that we don't want to just get the numbers at the end of the day. We also want to know how the setter was performing, right? And once we were able to include a lot more questions onto this document, onto this form or the report, we were able to also take a look at all the data at a macro level and see where the bottleneck is and fix those bottlenecks as soon as possible, right? So all we had to do now was literally just sit, wait for the setter to fill out the form for the whole month. At the end of the month, we would run a call, we would see where we can improve, and then we would focus on that leverage task for the whole week. We would get that done and we would definitely see an increase in either show-up rates, either call booking rates, or what was the other one? The close rates, right? Perfect. So the questions that we did include is like, what's the main bottleneck that's holding you back right now? Weak offer understanding, weak opener, low volume, not enough follow-ups and everything, right? Top objection you face today, time, already another program. So based on getting all of this data, we would be able to understand what we need to optimize the offer for or what we need to optimize the setter for, right? And based on that, we would be making much more clear decisions and moving the business forward, okay? Perfect. And then we also had the post-booking VSL link, which was the whole goal for this post-booking VSL was to just get more people primed up and ready for the call so that it's more like a cash collected call rather than a sales call itself, right? And the way it worked was, having these 9 different steps, which was a welcome message, setting the frame, future pacing the outcome, bridging their pain to this moment, reintroduce the expert and the status rebuild, reveal the system/mechanism or the unique mechanism that the coach is going to use, handling inner objections that the prospects who are watching this video or anyone who's going to hop on the call, they're going to have a lot of objections, they're going to have a lot of doubts, and you just want to make sure you can get that out before the call itself, okay? Framing the call as a win-win. So this is probably one of the best things you can do, is that at the end of the day, even if you don't choose to work with me, you will at least have a roadmap that you can go with and execute on yourself alone, right? So it made the whole call a win-win situation, and that's what you want to include in your post-booking VSL. And then obviously installing the urgency and expectations. I would suggest changing up the urgency a little bit more, maybe not having a scarcity urgency kind of thing, but this worked really well for this offer, but it doesn't really work well for all the offers. Do your research first. That's what I would say. Do your research first. And then based on that research, use all the urgency and expectations that you think that might work for the ICP. Perfect. And then we had the IG group chat pre-call SOP for optimum show up rates 70 to 80%. Now, if you guys do want a video on this, I have already uploaded one on YouTube. It's already there. I think we converted one of our clients' show up rate from like 30% or 35% to like 70%. And the video is already there. I've explained it out, broken down everything. So you can just watch that if you want. Okay. Now, what this system did was it helped us stabilize the sales pipeline. It helped us kind of get a lot of people into the sales pipeline first. And then once we had the sales pipeline ready, we had the sales systems to convert these people. And the way we converted them is pretty simple. We had this free resource VSL script that was finalized and recorded. Okay. And anyone who watched this VSL, they would want to opt in for the free resource. And once they opt in for the free resource, we then use their emails, right? And we send a temperature check email, which is basically asking them to reply back to the email first to get the resource. That way the Gmail or Gmail things like, it's just another friend, it's an actual conversation, it's not spam. Your email deliverability goes up this way. A lot of people open up your emails a lot more and you get a lot more replies, which means it's coming off as if it's an actual email rather than, you're just using it for marketing purposes, right? Perfect. We also had the free resource linked after the temperature email. So anyone who responded to the email with yes, they would instantly get the free resource. And the free resource was really, really good. It was called the lead generation blueprint. I'll actually pull it up over here. So we have this closer resource as well that we used. So the closer has his daily to-do steps that he needs to follow up on. And then we also have the daily steps for the setter as well over here. And this is pretty vague, but it was more than enough for the setter to be consistent and for the closer to be consistent on what they need to do. Okay. And then the closer resource hub, obviously we have the post call notes form to make sure right after every single call, the closer fills out this form. So there's not a lot of back and forth happening between the whole team and the coach or the closer itself. The tracking sheet for the closer, the sales call tracking sheet, the end of day form for the closer. Again, it was more focused towards the performance of the closer, towards the bottlenecks of the offer, so that once we take a look at the macro, we are able to understand where we are going wrong and we can what we need to optimize for as well. The pre-call SAP and the payment link. So this is the free resource that I had created for this coach as well from scratch. The coach just provided us with all the important necessary information, and then we just created the whole free resource. Now this resource was literally to just run a script, create an ad, have a package, pricing the package, and then how you need to run the sales calls with the lead in order for you to close them as well. So this was really, really helpful for a lot of people. And a lot of people got a lot of results for free just by using this blueprint, right? So if you want to create a lead magnet to just get a lot of people, make sure it's so good to the point that it actually gets results. Make sure you're not holding things back. Perfect. Now, the whole goal for all of these systems, again, was for consistent conversion. If we had consistent conversion from the sales pipeline, we would get a lot more people coming through. And the next step would be to retain these people. And the way you need to retain all of these people is by having really good onboarding systems, right? And I've seen a lot of coaches just completely forget about this, right? I was in this another trading offer where we had no onboarding systems and we closed like an instant PIF, but the coach was unavailable. And within 24 hours, the student was just like, I want my refund because I don't see any movement happening. So we understood the hard way that, hey, we need to have onboarding systems for the trading offer. And we use that information to also apply to this B2B offer, the content agency scaling offer. And honestly, the way it worked was as soon as the payment was successful, there was an automation that sends an email to the lead or to the person that have been closed, linked to the onboarding page and Discord community. So the onboarding page is basically, I think it's not live right now, but the onboarding page is pretty simple. We had a video that they had to watch, we had a form that they had to fill, and then a calendar booking page. And we made sure that in the onboarding video, while recording, the coach is setting the expectations, all right, mentioning the things that the students need to do in order to see success through this program. okay? And then explaining the importance of them filling out the onboarding form in detail and ask them to fill it out before scheduling the onboarding call as well. And the reason we did that is because number one, we wanted to get a lot more market research directly from the people who have closed instantly on the spot. Additionally, we also wanted to see where they are in their journey of, scaling their own content agency, so that the coach has a general idea before hopping on the call. He can just take a look at the answers and he understands what this person needs help with, right? So he's much more prepared for the call, the coach, and the coach hops on the call and instantly gives a roadmap to the students, okay? And once the roadmap was given on the call itself, we had this new students onboarding form, right? The onboarding form that I'm talking about is basically the new students onboarding form. And it was used to collect all the key behaviors that have resulted in a sale. And it was also used for us to kind of, again, use all this data from this form. And you see this arrow now? Now it's going to make a lot more sense. We use all this data from this form and we move it back to offer optimization. After 3 months, after 6 months, offer optimization is really necessary. You need to evolve your offer. You need to look at your offer as natural selection, right? As if you're Charles Darwin and you need to basically kill off all the things that don't matter in your offer, right? So make sure you have these onboarding forms, you have all of these important questions. I can just show you guys the onboarding form as well. So over here, we are giving them a quick brief about what they need to do and why we are asking them to fill out this form. So number one was understand what brought you here, learn how to improve our program, shape our messaging to attract more high quality creators like you, and most importantly, personalize your experience inside CTC. So we gave them enough reasons. And trust me, if you ever want to get done anything from someone, just give them a good enough reason to do so. That's it. And then we had all these questions over here that go in depth about, what do you feel is the biggest bottleneck in your business, everything. And this was just like a before form, right? So just to capture the before identity of someone who just joined in, even after, hopping over the objections, and they basically took action. And why did they take action? Basically understanding every single thing about someone who's just onboarded, okay? Once we are able to understand that, then, so the whole goal for this, system number 6, which is onboarding systems, was to get client retention protection. We just wanted to protect the amount of retention, the refunds that we get. We wanted to protect the churn as well. Okay, we wanted to kind of improve the offer to the point where there's no more improvement available. And that is why we had created this new students form. And once we had created this new students form, then we had to create results delivery systems, because what we understood was the coach, he was still busy with his other business, right? So we had to still take off as much as responsibilities as possible in terms of delivering value to his students. And the way we did that was, first we created a decentralized Discord community for both of his low ticket and high ticket. Okay. Once we did that, we then created a full review system for students, which was built into 3 parts. Number one was send your review request for students. Okay. This was built for students, where people could literally just go and click on this forms link and they fill out this form. And once they fill out this form, we get a review request notification for the client. And this is what the notification looks like. Yo, Jose, a CTC student, has requested a review. The student name, the area of business, main bottleneck, link of resource, and then the link that the client needs to use in order for him to send over the resources back or send the review back. Okay. As you can see, the review request was in the back end. So not all the students were available, or the students were not able to see all the notifications about the review requests that have been put up. Okay. Then there was review complete notification for the students. Every time Jose completed the review and filled out the form, the notification used to go out basically into the community to all the people that had reviewed or requested a review basically. And having this sort of chronological review system made it a lot more easy for the coach to actually coach these people and actually help them get results, because he was saving a lot of these important hours of his time. He was still working on his business, but he was still able to provide extreme value with a lot more speed. Okay, perfect. And then let's say there were students who joined up. Let's say the students review all of their requests, or they ask all the reviews, they go through all the reviews, they go through all the systems, they take action, they see results. Then after they see results, what we do is we ask for a feedback form, and this feedback form basically helps us understand the after state of these people. So let's say if someone joined up at like 2k per month, they go through all of this and now they're at like 15k per month. So now we have a feedback form for the person who has been through all of this and hit 15k per month, and now we are getting feedback in order to improve the offer, improve the product, or improve the experience of this person. Okay, and this is fulfillment skills scalability. So the last system, the results delivery system, was literally just to make fulfillment much more scalable, make it much more easy for the coach to kind of provide value while still being caught up in other stuff, right? And obviously giving all of these systems in a longer time horizon. Let's say you use this system for like a year, 2 years, 3 years. What you can do after that point is like you have so much data that you can go off of and literally improve your offer, improve your product to make it better than anyone else, to the point where you don't even need to be included in the offer because you've answered all the important questions about the ICP, or the ICP has. You've cleared all your objections. You've made it absolutely fucking frictionless for your offer to hit like 50k a month, 100k a month, right? So maybe even more. So yeah, this is how we helped our coach go from a 2.5k investment with us to a 51.75k cash collected in USD, right? And if you want similar results, there's a link in the description, the first link in the description. You can book a call. It's for free. If you don't want to book a call, it's fine. I don't care. But yeah, if you found this video to be helpful and if you want some sort of custom help, just book a call. You're not going to lose anything. I'm not going to fucking close you. Maybe I am, who knows? But yeah, either way, I hope this video was super valuable. If you guys have any questions, let me know. And if you guys want any sort of links to any of these templates, reach out to me on IG and I'll be able to share it with you. So have a great day, and yeah, peace.